About to put the new motor in.
Excited?
I'm so excited.
It's a tight fit.
Subscribe to the channel as we sail this old girl around the world.
We've been in the boatyard for what feels like forever as we refit and repower Nandji, ready to cross the Indian Ocean later in the year. Our engine installation had been delayed for weeks as we waited on our new stern tube to be made and sent from Australia, keeping us busy with other projects around Nandji. Finally, the day we've all been waiting for is upon us.
Today's the big day. The crane has arrived. About to put the new motor in.
First things first, I pre-slung the fuel tank, so this will go up first. We'll slot this in, and then we're going for the big bad boy. Using some long 1-ton slings, I double wrapped each sling around the top of the fuel tank to grip the tank tight and level.
In goes the fuel tank.
We used the crane to then centre the fuel tank directly over the hole we had cut in the floor. With only millimetres of clearance around the edge of the tank, we used a chain block from the crane's hook to then make slow and precise movements to lower and position the tank in place. Keep going. Okay, we have touchdown. She's well engineered, this bad boy. It's a tight fit. It just slots in, but lucky Benita's up to the task. She knows how to fit everything in.
The engine isn't going to fit, so we have to take the gearbox off to slot it in, and then we'll put it back on once it's inside. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Excited?
I'm so excited. I don't know. I'm all over the place today. So excited.
Our new Engine Fang comes with lifting points on top where we could shackle the lifting gear to. Not having the gearbox attached changes the centre of gravity, and needing to angle the engine to slot the engine through the small hole in the cockpit floor, we used a come along as the second leg to adjust the angle of how the engine hung. Directing the crane to get as close to centre as we could, we then used the chain block once again to slowly get our new Yanmar into Nandji.
She's slotting in.
Removing the engine mounts to make Fang skinnier again, we lifted the new Yanmar into place. Okay, go.
Yes, got it. Oh, she's going down.
She fits.
She's going down.
Fits.
It fits.
Oh, I'm going to keep saying that forever, I think. I can't believe it.
I think I'm going to run it.
Stoked. My measurements actually have come together. With Fang now safely positioned in the engine room, we fitted back on the engine mounts while it still hung from the crane's hook. Stop. Okay, coming down. Hold it there. Resting Fang on some solid timber bearers for now, we could detach all the rigging gear from the crane and transfer the lifting point to the boom, allowing the crane to pack up. From here, we are now able to replace the gearbox and manoeuvre the engine around to where it will soon live forever.
Just like that, eh? Nice big gearbox, my god.
That's a weapon in that.
Make it tight like you mean it.
She fits! She fits! Woo! She fits! 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 Woo!
Oh, what a relief. Such a relief to get it in and its general whereabouts of where it's going to go. I'd measured everything a million times, but you know, you measure and when it actually happens, it doesn't always go to plan, but this is actually going to plan. It fits.
Give me some
perfectly.
skin! Give me some skin!
It
Give me
fits
some skin!
perfectly.
Give me some skin! Everyone wants to high five ya!
Give me
Everyone's
some
high fiving! Give! Woo!
High five to the boys!
Yeah.
Get him, Ellie! Yeah!
What a day, hey, what a day.
It's not properly mounted in, but it's in there.
It's in there.
Close enough.
And it's all fit, so we're so stoked, hey.
So stoked. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
to everyone that's helped us get to this.
Yeah, thank you everyone that helped chip in for the motor. Thank you to our patrons as well. You guys are the best.
Oh, best following, man. This is crazy. You can't believe it's actually in there and it fits.
We got the biggest adventures coming up with this new motor. We can't wait. And a huge thank you to Kevy.
Big thanks to Uncle.
Big thanks to Uncle Kev.
He's been helping some fierce. Without his help, we wouldn't have been able to get half
Yeah.
what we've done.
No.
So, Uncle, bloody legend.
Yeah. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, guys.
Right,
Uncle Kevy's been so helpful and influential in helping us decide what motor to choose, if it's going to fit, how we're going to get it in.
Yeah. Thanks so much,
What a
Kev.
man.
Thank you
What a
so
man.
much, Kev.
This is the man.
Every day he's here helping.
So I got such a man crush on this man. Yeah. That's why he's getting his bag on and running away.
Put my glasses down.
It's bloody awesome. So stoked.
Yeah, man. That's it.
What are we doing here, boys?
We are just testing out our mounts that we need to put in. The engine sits on the inside of the bearers, so we've put in some metal. We've made up these metal things. We're just testing them out and seeing where we need to drill holes and how they're going to fit.
Here's a notch, for sure. So there's going to be our first notch.
It's a pretty exciting day for me today because we're starting to put Nandji back together again. So we're getting our bedroom back. I've swapped the workshop for our bed. So the workshop is now in the V-berth and our bed is now our actual bed. So we're able to put all of our clothes away and it's just great. It's a great feeling. It's our bed. See, with my clothes here, I keep them in a plastic bag. I paid for our clothes to get washed once and they gave them back in these plastic bags, so I just keep reusing them to help keep our clothes fresh. It seems to be working okay in the hot humidity. What are you doing, Yosh? Yosh is putting the bathroom back together.
I'm putting it back together to cut it up.
Aww. Really?
Yeah, we need to run a new exhaust system. This here is like a water break, so we can't get any water flood back into the engine. It's massive. We need to figure it needs to go in a spot so the inlet is lower than the exhaust elbow. And this here needs to be able to fill, so the hose will then go up through another water break and then exit on the side of the hull. And this here needs to be able to catch all the water from that hose. So it needs to be low in the bilge, and it needs to have space, and we can't fit it in the bilge because we have a really shallow bilge. So I'm gonna cut the bathroom floor, make it a bit smaller and make a little step here. This will sit down in the bilge still.
So you're still destroying the boat?
I'm still destroying the boat.
Okay.
A very frustrating morning today, yesterday afternoon. Had the new engine, doesn't sit on top of the bearers, it sits on the inside of the bearers, and so we've got these elaborate mounts that we've made up that we need to then bolt to the inside of the bearers that the engine will sit on. The brackets that come off the back of the bell housing and where the engine mounts are attached to, I asked Yanmar and they said it's okay to drill a new hole just on the inside. Then I asked if it was good to oval out the old hole to then make it into an elongated oval shaped hole for where the engine mount can go through, and they said that's fine, that's a good idea, it'll make it easier for your alignment. So I went ahead and went down to the engineering place here that have been doing pretty good. They've made me some good little bits of stainless stuff, and I thought they should be able to just drill a hole and make it even. Come back with these, have absolutely mutilated my hole. How well we can see that. But I should be a perfect oval shape through that, and that thing is just destroyed. The bolt needs to be tight in this hole. That's the whole point of it, because then it clamps down tight, and then this is what holds the motor in place and your alignment in place. The Sigma drive will help cover this if it does rattle loose, and so we won't do any damage or bend shafts and wear out cutlasses, which is the great thing about the Sigma drive. However, we still want to have our alignment perfect, and we don't want to be having to be worrying about all these mounts after we've gone through such an effort to put in a new engine. You can just imagine that this here would all of a sudden rattle loose when we're in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and it would just cause us chaos, which is all this sort of stuff we're trying to avoid. So these brackets are what came with the engine, so I've taken them off the back of the bell housing here, and old mate's just destroyed them basically. They were the last welding place, or the only welding place that I'd found and trusted and thought did okay work, and I don't know, they must have handed it off to the apprentice or something, because he's just mutilated them. So I'm gonna have to figure out whether I get new ones made. I know there's a really good welder in Thailand who made our bow roller and all the other stuff, our fuel tank and stuff. He dominates. You need to be able to fill these up and drill a new hole and look like new. But we need to be able to find someone here, or else I'll have to take these engine mounts out off again when we get to Thailand and then realign everything, which is just going to be an absolute pain in the clacker. So very disappointed. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. These are the solid structures that will bolt to the inside of the bearers, and then the engine will sit on top of this here. So the engine mounts will sit on top of these bad boys and bolted to these. So I'm just drilling holes on the side where we're going to fix the bolts into the bearers. Drilled myself a pilot hole with like a 6mm drill bit, and then going through with a brand new 12.5 drill bits, as we got M12 bolts that we're going to stick through there. The key to drilling is not go hammer and tongs. You go nice and steady and slow, and then use a bit of lanolin for some lubrication. It really helps to keep your drill bit in order. Won't go blunt, and then hopefully we can get through these 24 holes or something that I've got to drill. Get a little bit on there. Square him up a bit. Mine has to go over towards you. The whole motor has to go to starboard. It's kind of a critical moment now. We have to get all this pretty well perfect because it's going to affect the alignment of the shaft. So we need to get it all within about 5mm or so of where we're going to sit everything, because the rest we can adjust in the engine mounts for alignment. But we need to make sure we have the engine dead center, and then yeah, from there we can figure it out. So we put our mounts in, and now we need to drill holes for the brackets that the engine mounts to. We need to affix that to the bearers that we blast up. So we need to make sure the angle of the bracket is basically the same as the angle of the shaft. So from that there, we can make up the difference when we align it properly in the engine mounts. But as long as this is pretty close, then we've got a good starting point to align the gearbox and the shaft. But we need to make sure we get good holes through these bearers so we can affix the bracket to the bearers. And that's what I'm doing now. You good, Uncle?
Yeah.
Alright, here we go.
You guys nothing?
Hello, Richard. Thanks, buddy. So we got the shaft back. They're actually really good down there. All you gotta do is go down and ask for something and you get it done straight away, which is quite surprising. You don't get that anywhere. So that's about the only thing they've got going for them, but pretty stoked. But now that we've got the shaft cut, so we've got the shaft in, we can position the motor exactly where it needs to be now. So we're going to align the shaft and the engine, and then we'll properly bolt down the engine, so that's where it's going to live. That's pretty sick. To align the shaft to the gearbox, before we put on the Sigma drive, lucky Uncle's got a spare coupling, so this is just a general flat coupling that he had in his stores. But luckily we got the same shaft diameter and everything else, so we can fit this onto our shaft to then properly align the gearbox to the shaft. And bolt all the motor down. Once all that's aligned, we can take this off and then we'll install the Sigma drive. But for now, to get it perfect, we just use a nice flat standard old coupling. Oh, it's really close already. That's so good. The best way to align stuff is to control your movements in each way. So you move 2 mounts at the same time basically. So you're moving the engine this way or this way, and then forward or aft. So port to starboard or forward to aft. But to start with, you have to get port to starboard so it's square, and then you work on forward to aft. Hello, legends.
Hey guys, we're slowly getting through the boat work.
How stoked are we to get that bad boy in? We need to say massive thanks to everyone who contributed once again. The last couple of weeks since we've been in the water, we've been testing her out, and Nandji is a weapon. That thing is...
It's a brand new boat.
Oh my God.
It's just amazing.
We're so stoked, so thank you so much for everyone that contributed.
Yep.
Legends. Whenever we get new crew to sign up to our Patreon family, we want to say a big thank you to all of you for signing up and supporting Nandji and help supporting our production. So a big thanks to Michael, Juan, Fabio, Jeffrey, Joe, Bob, Harry, Rory, Ralph, and big thanks to SV Double Star for upping your pledge. Good on you, legends.
Yep.
And just as we're about to start filming, a massive thanks to you, Dave, for jumping on board like you have.
Yep.
That's the way to bring the froth.
The ultimate frother.
That's the ultimate frother right there.
Yeah.
And thanks to Armando and Roy as well for chucking a bit in the PayPal. That's awesome when you guys like to do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Because we've put a new diesel engine in Nandji, we're going to offset our carbon emissions by planting 500 trees when we get to 100,000 subscribers. So we're going to donate $500 to one tree planted, which will equal 500 trees to be planted in the location that we choose. So if you'd like to see that happen, please subscribe to the channel and get us to 100,000 subscribers. Thanks everyone for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the video.
Catch up.
We're working it this way at the moment. Yeah, so I'm really slow with that alignment. So let's take this chain block off. The motor's in.
Motor's in!
Motor's in. Get this thing off. But the beauty of having a Sigma drive is that it counteracts if we make any mistakes. Put some nylon nuts on the other side to lock it on. The extractor.
Going in.
With the engine fully installed, now we need to run everything else around it. We're running the new exhaust now. We need to find places for the gooseneck here. This needs to be as high above water level as possible.
This was so daunting. I can't believe you just drilled a hole in the boat. Oh my god.